A very good evening to you and welcome to Public. This being the last quarter of the year 2020, the year of mask, sanitizer, social distancing and many more. And tonight we do the state of the nation, focusing on what has been happening in the past 3 quarters of the year and what is likely to happen in the last quarter of the year. On the show tonight, we are joined by Mr. Pidgin Odimwengu, who is a party leader of Accountability Party. We are also joined by Mr. Fred Muka, who is a national youth leader, Amani National Congress. Mr. Edgar Kosgei, a political analyst, is also with us on the show to help us to dissect and look into the matters and all that has been happening within Kenya and finding way forward, even as we hope and anticipate to end 2020 in style, with the hope that 2021 will be a better year than ever before. My name is Cornelius Omuse, and remember, this conversation is also live on our Facebook page, CAC TV Kenya. Our YouTube channel is CAC TV Kenya. And with our mask, we will strive to see that you get what we have. I can see Edgar ready, I can see Mr. Muka ready, and Mr. Pidgin ready. Gentlemen, welcome to Public tonight.
Thank you very much.
The two of you are visitors, but Mr. Kosgei on the other end.
I'm home.
He's the first one who appeared on this show, Power Brief, when we didn't have any direction. And even when he comes, I usually call him the guardian of Power Brief. Mr. Muka, it's your first time, and also Mr. Pidgin. Now, tonight we do the state of the nation, and we are trying to look at what has been happening and even the recent development this week when the president gave new guidelines on how to continue combating or fighting with COVID. But at the end of it all, there are different reactions from citizens. Kila mtu ana maneno yake, anasema kunaenda namna gani. Yesterday night, where I come from, I went to some shop at around 9:35. But I found that the shops were closed, meaning that readjustments is yet to happen. So let's see briefly from where you come from, and also to briefly dissect on the new directives and how are they really coming along with the people. Beginning from the other corner, Mr. Edgar, I know you struggle, but just give it the best.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me around again. And I want to thank CAC TV for having such a program that enlightens the people. And I want to congratulate CAC TV for coming that far. It has grown in leaps and bounds. The new directives and the new notes that the president gave out before going to France to apply for the new, apply for the 180 billion.
Where did you people get that information that he has gone for a lot? Mono of beams, what on kikapu? Anyway, yeah,
it's in the public domain. Yes. So before he went, he gave directives. He said that curfew has been shortened, and it is going to start at 11 p.m. and ends at 4. Now that was a relief for me, because I can be able to do my own things, and I can get out of town at 9 and get home very late. So that's a relief for me. But as you said, it is a new norm that we are trying to adjust. We are used to being clobbered at exactly 9 by the police in the streets. So businesses are adjusting. That is a directive that has been given. Another new norm that we are going to find are people going back to schools, the tertiary universities and the tertiary schools and the universities. The final year students are going back to school. And that is one more directive. But the president said that you people stay with your kids at home until we get it right. Until you will have confidence in our schools that you can protect your children.
Let's hear from Mr. Muka what is happening within his environment and what he thinks, whether the move by the head of state to bring in the new guideline was informed or misinformed, ama uko na mawazo yako pia ambayo pengine haikusikilizwa.
From where I come from and where I sit, any question asked about environment, I respond it holistically, because I was born and raised in the village. When I came to this town, I stayed in the slums. Mkuru Fuatanyayo slums in South B. From South B, I moved at least in a middle-level ground in Thika Road, around Zimmerman area, Githurai 44. I've stayed in those areas, and I'm privileged by the grace of God now. At least now I stay in a better place as we speak now.
Yeah.
Now, responding on these 4 areas, being born and raised in the village, life in the village ends at 7. At 6:30, we usually eat our dinner. So this curfew thing from my village backward, it has not affected it. That is the norm in the village.
Wonderful.
And if you go to the village, I've been lucky. I traveled the village during this pandemic. In the village, they have a common saying that Corona is not in the village. They have never seen, or heard anybody who has died of Corona.
Which could they be right or?
They could be right. I come from Mumias. So life in the village is normal. It is normal. There are football tournaments going on. People go in churches. People go in drinking sprees. It is normal in the village, in my village. The measures that the government came up with now in an area like in the slums in Nairobi, the measures that the government came up with, like social distancing, for instance, cannot work in the slums in Nairobi. This is an area whereby the place we are sitting in here, this is now a size of a household. This is a household that has a family of 8 or 5 people. Worst case scenario, 4 people. There's a bed here, there's a three-seater seat. One person will sleep in the seat, the wife and the kid will sleep on the bed. The visitor will sleep on the seat. There is no social distancing. It cannot happen in the slums. Neither can it happen in mid-level estates like Umoja, like Kayole, like Zimmerman. It can technically happen where I stay today, or in some upmarket areas. It can technically happen, social distancing. However, if you go to town today, I've been in town the entire day. If you go to town today, people left this government set up regulations. Technically, it's just on paper. Because people have come to realize that there is a way an African by nature is more resilient to such like diseases, and it has not killed as many people as it was expected. So people have kept going with it.
Thank you, Mr. Muka. Let's also get from the party leader where he stands. I know the announcements were made by his fellow party leader. I don't know whether you were consulted or you also just had it on media. So let's also see your focus and your opinion regarding the new guidelines and what also affects the environment as we do this State of the Nation, comparing what is happening and what we feel we should put our efforts together towards combating the spread of COVID-19.
Allow me to say thank you for this opportunity, and I'll also thank my fellow panelists for this opportunity also. As I try to talk about our country, allow me to react on that Corona directives that the government gave. He gave it at a capacity of a president, not as a party leader, because it was not a Jubilee directives. So that was a government directives. One thing I'll say is that, of course, to the background where we stay and what he has been explaining, especially, I've also been in slums for a long time. I'm saying that lower level of class. As a young person struggling there. And I'll say that the extension of time might only help, especially with the opening of bars to those who drink. Majorly. But the normal shops and kiosk operators, their time is always their time. Because most of the slums or estates within Nairobi, few of them operate past 24 hours. It's only maybe the CBD, which even sometimes you will not find people operating by 11. So it's not going to affect us a lot in terms of normal businesses, but it will affect a lot or help a lot the restaurant people and the bar people, because other people will be going out to drink at around 10 and whatever time. But the ordinary people of the barber shop and everybody else, at around 9 latest, they'll be closing up their businesses, you see? And also in traveling sector still, people get out of job or from their job at around 5 or 6, by around 8 or 9, they're still at their place. So you won't find them out at that time. But I'll say that, of course, it is a good move, but I don't see the difference between that level to 4. I don't even see the impact, because like opening up. Because the only thing is now trying to limit is that long distance traveling, especially at night, which I don't find anything it affect to the corona situation and anything to do with that. So pushing curfew to 11 is like you're trying to tell us that you're opening people to move the time they're supposed to sleep, which is ordinarily that they will be sleeping. So it's not that big impact to what I can say, but it's a better move.
But are we in agreement, all of us, from what I'm getting, is that a little bit you can say that the head of state and the government has maybe tried to contain the spread of COVID-19, ama ni Mungu amesaidia? Can we talk of the supreme being's presence, or it's been a human intervention?
I'll say there you see the health officers talk about this. The number is according to the test, not according to the real situation. And you see the test is going down daily. So it's not about either the number of corona going down daily, but it's about the capacity to test more people going down daily. So whether, in fact, even to believe the actual number in this country is an issue. So you can't know whether those are actual numbers going down or whatever they are doing.
Many thanks, guys, for that wonderful insight on the matter of new government guidelines on COVID-19. We now get into something that has been on media all through this week and for the past 2 weeks. That is the Mkokoteni and wheelbarrow wave from Hustlers Camp. And also at the same time, we have the other camp talking of you being ahead of second in command. And then you're coming up with Mkokoteni. Wao wanasema nyinyi mmekuja na kazi kwa vijana, kina graduate work na ufiekeo na kufagia barabara, alafu yamekuja na hii. So there this thing. But at the end of the day, let's now begin by looking at these two different camps, pointing fingers at each other, talking of Mkokoteni, now we are naongelea the wheelbarrow part. Does it portray failure of policy implementation or even policy formulation, or what could really be happening between the Mkokoteni and the kazi kwa vijana? We begin from the other end again.
Well, Cornelius, I am glad my friend Muka has started telling us that he has lived in such low places as those low places. I don't want to call them low places, but I'll just look for another vocabulary for that. Let us not belittle the lives of people living in such places by saying that someone is playing at 2022 politics, whatever, and someone has given someone a livelihood. Let us not talk about the livelihoods of people in a like manner. If you see the headlines that were given today, that this about someone, if you hear their stories, for me, I am glad someone has decided to have someone in the slum to come up. So let us know.
So who are these someone? Because Mr. Kosgei have dropped two things here.
Yes.
About these camps. Those ones who are castigating and criticizing them Mkokoteni and wheelbarrow thing, that are graduate, an engineering graduate, anafaa apewe helicopter, afungue, ama maybe atengeneze, ama aendeshe huko juu. Mwingine anasema tena, a graduate should be given something more to do rather than kufagia streets alafu wakubwa wanakuja wanapita na V8 puliza vumbi free. So those are the things. Where are you lying? Are you on the side of Mkokoteni or are you on the side of slasher and sweeping? Because the discussion is gaining momentum, and in fact when you go right now to the internet you realize when you put something utaona Mkokoteni, wheelbarrow and slasher imejipanga hapo.
You know, Musa, that's where I didn't want to go. I didn't want to stand on anyone's side because we are belittling people who are trying to provide for their families, trying to provide for their wives and their children. Kazi mtaani, Mkokoteni is none of our business when we talk about 2022 politics. Let us see that people in the mtaani are given livelihoods. If the deputy president has empowered 8,000 people, what is Muka doing? What is that guy doing in empowering more people? If Jubilee failed, what are legislators doing in terms of policy making and policy implementation in the executive? William Ruto has done this for a very long time, but people did not make it an issue when President Kenyatta was still vying, you know. But right now, I don't want people to talk about people's foods on the table just like that. Kenyans are missing the point, and Kenyans are veering off the right track. Let us let us step away from William Ruto and from the politics of food and mkokoteni and whatever. Those people asked for mkokoteni. They were not just given. They were asked, what do you want? Like me, I want my family to eat, my friend. So this mkokoteni things, this one Kenyans are missing it, and it is total other things, which I can't say.
Let's invite now Mr. Muka to get his part of the wheelbarrow mkokoteni na slasher. Actually, it sounds like a joke, but it's really bringing in emotional attachment and alignments, where you find the people saying, just as he's bringing it on, that someone is despising the little that puts a drop of milk on my table.
Cornelius, allow me to put this here. I've never seen mockery like this. I've never seen a pretender in this country than William Ruto. This is the greatest pretender of our time. The brightest politician of our time with zero wisdom. This is a person that it is said squandered 21 billion in Kimamwer and Aror Dam. 21 billion. What can 21 billion do? 21 billion can repair the old railway line from Uganda, from Mombasa to Uganda. 21 billion. That's what it can do. This is an individual.
The agencies that are concerned with corruption come up to implicate him directly with it, or it's said.
It is a matter of time. He will be implicated. You can take it to the bank. It's just a matter of time.
Which bank?
Any bank, even M-Pesa. You can take it to the bank. He will be implicated. It's just a matter of time. This is the second in command. People, we should live from a culture where people are accountable from their actions. Whatever you say, you should be able to stand up tomorrow and be accountable for it. This is a person that stood up in Kasarani. I watched it live. It is still on social media. It's in Google. It's on YouTube. You can Google. And promised the youth of this country, when we get the presidency, when we win, the Jubilee government will award the youth of this country tenders. The Jubilee government will award the youth of this country jobs. Immediately after graduation in the university, you will get a job. You will get an internship. In fact, he quoted 15 to 20,000 shillings. I'm not sure, between 15 to 20, around there. He quoted, you will get internship. This is the person that promised the youth. This is the person that has been in power or the better part of his life. This is a person that at the age of 25, if I'm not wrong, 27, he got a car, 27 years old. This is a person that the daughter, through his position as a deputy president, he's an ambassador in Poland, the daughter. This is a person that the son has supplied poles of electricity in this country. Now he stands up and tells our sons and daughters, our children, our brothers and sisters, the much I can do to help your living is to buy you mukokoteni, to buy you a pickup, or not a pickup, to buy a mukokoteni, to buy you a wheelbarrow, and sings on the wheelbarrow, mocking them. This is mockery.
That's one. Now, two,
Yes.
Mr. Muka, how about those ones who are also viewing that the Kazi Mtaani and the ones who are being given that responsibility, that it's the same thing that you're trying to mock from this end? Do you agree also that the other part of the Kazi Mtaani is a replica of what the deputy president is doing, or you're just focusing on one?
We should live by the fact that we live in a Jubilee government. Kazi Mtaani, wheelbarrow manenos, it is a Jubilee government initiative. We live in the Jubilee government where the president is Uhuru Kenyatta, the deputy president is William Samoei Ruto. So any pros and cons.
Where this thing came from,
Yes.
my brother, is the reason as to why those ones who claim to be having the third eye, not really a third eye physical eye, but
Yes.
an eye that can see what maybe every other person is giving a blind eye, or they are not seeing. In that they are saying, both those ones who are claiming that the deputy president is wrong and the president is wrong are right. There's no one who is clean between the two of them. That is what is coming from those ones who are claiming it. Do you take it that way, or you are viewing that the DP is the one who is on the wrong, or the president who is on the wrong, or no one is on the wrong, or both are on the wrong?
If anything is to be blamed on Jubilee government, it should be blamed holistically. The president and the deputy, if anything is to be praised on the Jubilee government, they should take credit, both of them. But William Ruto wants us to take a blame in the Jubilee government, to put it to a person that is not in the Jubilee government, which is Raila Odinga, and any advantage, any positive impact, any positive thing that has come from the Jubilee government, like the road network, it's a positive thing that has happened in the Jubilee government. He wants to take credit.
We are coming back to you shortly because I can see Mr. Edgar preparing his arsenals to deal with you.
Yes.
Mr. President,
Exactly.
not Pibin, our party leader on the show. What is your take on this debate that is really gaining momentum, and most likely it's now creating an alignment, possibly an alignment that will really shape the path of 2022 politics, that sisi ni wa huku wawilbaro na mkokoteni, sisi ni wa huku wavifyekeo na mapanga. There's something is coming up, and we want also to see your opinion over this as far as job creation, youth affairs, and economic stability is concerned.
Thank you for the opportunity. Allow me to say that our party, Accountability and Transparency Party, is a youth-driven political party. It is for youth and owned by youth, because you're tired of this nonsense. But the only time you think of youth, you think of them in that direction. The only time you think of youth, you think of those other nonsense the government do to us. You can stand there and talk the name of youth and tell them that I'm giving you 1,000 and millions of jobs. Then the next day you give them the nonsense you're giving us. Of course, we need money as young people. And even when the government was coming up with the Cousin Tani thing, we needed money. But subjecting all graduates to slash is not even if you have to do cost evaluation, there's no return on investment, totally. There are a lot of things they could have employed young men to do, especially those engineers and whatever people, even to repair and construct those mtaro and everything else, and even build some other new things according to what you've studied. This is a young man who is an artist going with a slasher to slash. This is a young man who is a teacher somewhere, a graduate, going to carry those whatever things you call. So when you look at the whole thing the government is doing from the beginning, whether Ruto is now taking it to a personal initiative and Uhuru is now running is at a government initiative, at the end of the day, these are two people. And there's no way one of them can run out of another person unless he's out of government. So currently, the mistakes done by the government through Uhuru or Ruto is a government mistake. But one thing I'll tell you and I'll tell my fellow young people, and as you can see their reaction, you cannot be telling us to study for 4 years, then give us wheelbarrow and give us lashes. In fact, even if it was help, you wasted my time. If you didn't have job to give us and start telling us we'll be innovative and whatever stuff, why do you not tell us to be innovative from high school? Then stop going to those whatever things you're telling us. So I'm viewing this as a mockery to young people, both from what DP is doing and what Uhuru is doing. But DP understands very well that them as the government have subjected us to this situation where we are so hopeless that anything that passes a wheelbarrow or a slasher is something that can provide us something else.
We take a quick commercial break. As we come back, we'll be looking into the way forward as far as the cry of the young, many Kenyan graduates who are saying that indeed they're being given a raw deal, that after being in campus for many years, after being in school for very many years, when they come outside, they meet wheelbarrows and slashers. Indeed, they say they're not are lazy, but it's only that the surroundings and the environment are subjecting them to that. Few days ago, Cabinet Secretary for Education, C.S. Magoha, talked of the young people, graduates, should start thinking on how to create jobs. But again, the graduates go and sit back and they wonder, how do we create jobs? And the sentiments are coming from leaders who've been employed the whole part of their life. Do we need a debate? Do we need a conversation, a dialogue that will bring together all and sundry towards finding solutions on this? Mr. Edgar Kosgei, Mr. Fred Muka, and Mr. Pibin Odimwengu are with us on the show tonight to do the state of the nation, looking at where the country has been for the past 3 quarters of the year and how we're going to end it, especially now that we're having a pandemic that remains a riddle. How do we get out of it? Do not go far. Keep it on CAT TV. Are you looking to grow a business? CAC TV offers you a variety of advertising opportunities to suit your budget. Advertise with us today and reach your potential customers countrywide. For more information, email us on sales@cactv.org or call 0794 588 054.
If you blessing me, Daddy, I'm here to say, yo, what's up? I live my life for the gospel. I don't want this to end. Hey, I wanna let you know. I wanna let you know. I wanna scream and shout. I wanna scream and shout. I wanna let it out. I wanna let it out. I wanna praise him. Hey, what are you waiting for? What are you waiting? This is my season of joy. This is my season of praise. This is my season to shout. I don't want this to end.
You're welcome to the home of one world, one hope, and one music.
I don't want this to end. I don't want this to end. Hey.
Welcome back and many thanks for tuning in to Power Brief on CAC TV. And tonight we are doing State of the Nation. That is the October edition. On State of the Nation, we do it on a monthly basis, looking at what has transpired in the past months and what is really looming in the political corridors, and foreseeing and finding solutions, finding opinions. And just remember always, the opinions expressed here on this show is not the official position of CAC TV, but the opinions of our panelists. We give them an opportunity because they say that the voice of the people actually is the voice of God. They speak what comes from them because they are the majority and they are the people. Gentlemen, before we broke, something had come up, the issue of Mkokoteni and slashers. And before we move to another point, because we have a number of things we are dealing with tonight, we want to see a way forward, actually, especially on this issue of the youth. When you go to the social media now, them being the majority stakeholders who speak of what is happening there on the internet every morning to evening, actually their cries there. This is the second time that the Cabinet Secretary for Education, that is Professor Magoha, the other time he was in Embu, and he's saying the same thing. So these youth were saying, the person who is telling us this thing is someone who's been employed. In fact, the job that he's having right now is a retirement plan. But they're telling us to create jobs without a proper plan. So each one of us, in 30 seconds before we go to another topic, what do you think should be done so that we see on our way, kama tunasema create jobs, indeed we've prepared them to make jobs?
Well, I like the fact that you see that Magoha has been employed all of his
Not
life.
me, that's what I gathered.
It is a fact. It is a fact.
It's a fact.
Mm.
He's allowed to say that, and he's allowed to advise us that. But, after going through 4 years of university education, we're being prepared in a certain line. No one prepares you for business. Business has a lot of dynamics. For those people who are running businesses, like me, a lot of dynamics. In fact, emotional dynamics. So no one should go into a national TV and tell us how to run businesses when many of us have never run businesses. The final solution is this to Kenyan problems, is that leaders wake up and do a policy implementation through their representation to help us steer the country in the right direction. If we are not going to the right direction, then we'll be complaining now about the economic, how bad the economy is, and we will be complaining about William Ruto giving wheelbarrows. We'll be complaining about Uhuru Kenyatta with the Kazi Mtaani. But this is what I'm saying. For now, yesterday, for those who are in Karen, like us, who saw the drug recoveries, people who have recovered from drugs being given Mkokoteni, those are people who didn't ask for anything else. The party leader, my friend here, is talking about people who have been educated and been given jobs. Those guys are not, man. They are not. Those guys are crying for their families. They have drugs, and they what they could do is a business is a mkokoteni, and what another thing they could just wash vehicles. The lowest in the society. Sometimes let us be so slow in calling the graduates in the middle of some people who are being helped. Let's be so slow and be sensitive to the children and to the women who are in the house waiting for breadwinners.
Many thanks, Mr. Kosgei. We'll really have another show which is not the state of the nation, kwa sababu another debate was coming up. Mtu alikuwa anasema unapewa mkokoteni, tunataka pia punda. Anyway, that's for another day. Mr. Muka, what do you think is the way forward in summary over this topic of I don't know, tumesoma hatupati solution, and actually the youth are having bitterness over this, and unless it is addressed, it really brings a lot of issues, and as a country to find a way forward, then people must come together.
We live in a country whereby we are fighting with our future. The government is fighting with the youth of this country.
For or with?
The government is fighting with, not for. We are at war with the government, the youth of this country. They want to increase university fee. I'm sure you are aware. They are on the latest stages. They, in a way, fought up university education, university student leadership forums. We no longer have SONU, the vibrant SONU. They came up with rules, repugnant, retardant, retrogressive rules to make sure that students, we don't have a universal suffrage in the universities. Whereby university students, you were a university student leader, I was a university student, I don't know if this gentleman was in the student leadership before. We no longer have universal suffrage where university students will exercise their democratic right to choose their leaders. It is a funny setup ways nowadays. So that one alone killed the vibrancy in the union. So we no longer have student leaders or forums that the university leadership will fight for such retrogressive idea. During Babu Owino's time in the University of Nairobi, they wanted to increase school fees. We staged demonstration across the country in major universities, in Maseno, in Eldoret, in Kakamega, even in Meru, in this town, till that idea was stopped. They don't want to add HELB loans as we speak today. We have an education system that prepares you to do an exam, not to prepare you to be a job creator. We must appreciate that technology has embraced youth nowadays. The youth of this country are job creators. But they don't have a platform. They came up with a platform for youth to get loans. However, for you to secure that loan, you have to come with a group. The group has to go through some funny quenching process. They have to sieve the group. Apparently, there are some names that don't qualify to get loans.
Some of these names, just briefly before I jump to...
it will not be in order to mention names on a public TV in this moment, but you do your research, you will identify there are some names that don't qualify to get loans in this country. Apparently, the same people, there's I love reggae music. There's a reggae music says that, hey, they want us to be stupid. They've been celebrating all these days.
Wow.
What about the slavery days? What about? They've been celebrating all these days. There's nothing to smile about with this government. There's nothing. Now they've come back 2 years to the election. They want to give us wheelbarrows. They want to give us mukokoteni. Seriously? We have to find a solution. We have to live by our word. You have to promise heaven and deliver heaven. You'd rather say when you get the presidency, you will give youth of this country mukokoteni. Not when you get the presidency, you will give us jobs, you will give us a platform to access loans, you will give us a platform to get sponsorship, and you don't live by that.
Many thanks, Mr. Muka, the party leader, ANC, party youth leader, ANC.
Yes.
Now, let's hear from the party leader who is with us here. In summary also, tufanye nini? Because tunalia. I've seen the emotions in Edgar. I've seen when Muka was speaking, machozi ndio just najua atapanguza. Also from your side, tufanye nini tu iondokee?
As a young person, even thinking of having a political party for young people, in one way or the other is more of, we are suffering under the solution. Why should we be begging a government which is not even led by young people, but only know about what young people suffer theoretically? We cannot be begging government as young people like how women are begging for 2/3 gender rule. Well, we have the numbers. In fact, any young person should not even be anywhere singing and dancing the tune of this government which has betrayed young people. The situation where we go to drugs and everything else, to an extent that even we deserve that wheelbarrow and mkokoteni, is caused by this same government. So I'm not in any way trying to ask young people to still play with government. When people strike here, young people strike here, you see what they do to us. We are striking to demand what they promise, but they send us police. So it's time for revolution. We should not be begging these people. We should unite as young people and get them out and get ourselves in there. Because we cannot be begging all over and you have over 75%. Surely, what are we begging for? If numbers are needed for election, we have numbers.
So according to you, Mr. Odimwengu, what should happen is that the youth should take charge of their destiny.
Yeah, the pain you have, what you're going through, convert it to something constructive by ejecting those people. And ensure that you put yourself, even if you are to be there. Because these people, even they are jobless also. They are looking for jobs through being MP and whatever things. And they're asking you to be innovative. Well, then they became innovative to be a member of parliament to get some job there. So the best thing we should do, we should not be begging these people. We should organize ourselves and we be united. This is not about a Kikuyu and a Luo and a Kalenjin uniting himself. This is about a generation trying to fight for challenges they're going through. And we have not only been promised by this government, we have been promised by any other government who knows how viable is young people to them getting their vision and being elected. So it's time we don't try any other person. It's time just to organize ourselves and get in.
Many
Simple
things.
as that.
Now, last year in December, a few days before the BBI results, BBI Part 1, I remember we did Season 1 with Edgar and also Season 2 we did with him. And even before we did Season 2, there were things that were on the air and we projected with him on the show and actually they came out. Currently also, Mr. Muka and Mr. Odimwengu, there are things which are like they've been sent to test the waters on what should really be done, what is expected about the PM, the Prime Minister, how they should be appointed, and how the approach is, how it's going to be. So we want to get from you in brief and also for our viewers to get to understand the current structure of government and the rumored that is being actually proposed from the BBI part. Which one sounds a bit better and why you think that one is better or we should focus on this, Mr. Edgar Kosgei, especially on the structure. Everything is being pegged on the structure of government. It's being said that chaos has been arising from how the sharing of positions and the structure of government.
Omutse, we've been talking about this thing for at least many years right now. And we've been talking about positions in the government. And we've been talking about the superior prime minister being elected from parliament. And we've been talking about a president who is elected by the people. We've been talking about 2 deputy prime ministers. We've been talking about a deputy prime minister, a deputy president too. And what we have been doing, we have been talking about positions. Whatever is happening inside those offices, whatever they are cooking, let them continue cooking. Whatever Raila Odinga and President Uhuru Kenyatta are cooking, let them continue cooking because we are not ready to get served. This country has just emerged from coronavirus. Even before coronavirus, we had terrible economy. Let us talk about other things other than 5 positions that we are going to have. And I hope that this narrative is defeated. Akina Fred and co. To stop promoting Raila Odinga and the rest of the world to give us 5 people as our leaders. When will we have a conversation of the local person?
Actually, from the BBI proponents, what they say is that when a country plunges into war, animosity, like what my brother was just talking of, some names cannot access ABCD because of, I don't know where they come from. I'll not go there, so I'm going to do my research tonight to understand actually ni wapi. So if they say that hiyo ndio imekuwa inaletea mwananchi wa kawaida shida, na sisi kama viongozi tumeona ya kwamba shida iko hapa na hii ndio tunaona ya kwamba tufanye, why shouldn't it happen in the first place? Because what even the party leader here, Mr. Odimwengo, has been talking of the leaders failing, and what those leaders, as they are watching us tomorrow, they'll say tunajaribu kuwaletea na mnasema you don't want.
You know, it is good you started with the problem that Muka raised. Muka raised a problem of someone who can access loans, who can't access loans, or who can't access the money. Can we talk about that? Not the Prime Minister.
But again,
Let me
before you answer him, let me moderate that part.
Yes.
If I don't understand, actually I'm not a lawyer anyway, but I'm a communicator. I'm told that all these things
Yes.
happens while they're anchored on law, and my little knowledge of the law tells me that the Constitution is a supreme law of the country, and therefore anything including what Muka has cried, naona machozi bado yanatetemeka, inasemekana lazima iwe kwa katiba, ndugu Edgar.
He's not even crying. This part of the government are ridiculous people. Now, what I'm saying is, I know he's not going to agree with me, but I'm saying, let the conversation be away from the Prime Minister position. Let the conversation be about the local person of the country.
Thank you. Let's get from
If you are very
had.
keen,
Yeah.
and I've listened to William Ruto since I started listening to politics in 2007. He has boiled down this conversation of BBI that let the conversation be on how to sort out this person who needs food on the table, on how to sort out this person that needs a job. He has been a deputy president for heaven's sake.
We're talking about Ruto.
The only way he has been able to sort out that person is to squander 600 million that can be able to put up a company, a factory that will employ him, that can be able to build the old railway line from Uganda to Kenya, that can be able to be put in this city to sort out the traffic mess.
William.
He has sorted him out with wheelbarrows. He has sorted him out with the mkokoteni. And he wants us to concentrate on sorting out an individual. The best government that has ever worked in this country is the hybrid government, the Grand Coalition government. You and I will agree. In the Grand Coalition government, that's when we had even the work in progress that Jubilee government has finalized. In the Grand Coalition government, it's when we had the road network, the infrastructure in the Grand Coalition government. There are some people in this country who have never tasted leadership. They feel to be part of this country. Mount Kenya alone has had, the Kikuyus to be specific, has had 3 presidents. And when you go to them, they complain that Nyandarua and Muranga has never had president. That's their cry. Nyandarua and Muranga. The only part in Mount Kenya that has not produced a president. They have had a presidency 24 good years. They have had a deputy president 10 good years. 24 plus 10, 34. More than my age. They have had presidency.
I have a right of reply.
Now, there are these people in the country who may feel to be contributing to the national cake. They have never had anywhere near leadership of this country, thanks to the devolution that was championed by Raila Amolo Odinga, which they opposed, which William Ruto opposed. At least Grand Coalition brought governors, and you feel to be part of the government in one way or another. Now, our cry is that at the national cake, the 5 positions, if we create a replica to what happened in the Grand Coalition government, now in a more sieved way, at least we have a presidency, a deputy president, 2 prime ministers, and a president, prime minister, two deputy prime ministers, and the deputy president.
Actually,
At least
we've
5
gotten-
positions.
Yeah.
That one, in a way, a person like in Kisii will believe ever at some point he will ever occupy any of these 5 seats. At least a Kisii will
Before I
believe.
give him a right of
The
reply,
Maasai will
We've
believe.
gotten
Like
your-
on this word,
Yeah, yeah.
We've
Kikuyu
gotten
Kalenjin,
your
Kikuyu
parts.
Kalenjin. Impossible.
He has
let's
quoted me many times.
let's hear from
So-
Mr. Odibwengu, then we come back to you. He has talked of how you
Yes.
had president.
I've had
for-
president.
Now, Mr. Odibwengu, let's hear from you. Do we need a change of the constitution from what is being rumored, as Mr. Muka has just talked of? Wacha tuongeze kidogo so that the country balances.
I like when my fellow panelists get emotional about people who fail us a lot. Whether you talk of you are supporting whatever Kina Raila initiative or Kina Ruto stuff, let me tell you, these are guys who have been eating us. Just that now they're having their own personal differences, trying to project it and make it our problem. It's not our problem. When they were eating us suddenly, we were nowhere.
What were they eating? Sometimes
These guys
it's good
been
to
looting Kenya.
become
The
clear,
question is,
because when you
these
talk of
people,
eating-
let me tell you, these people have been looting our resources.
Be specific. Say Ruto has.
Not Ruto has.
What has Raila looted?
He has used
What has
that.
Musalia looted?
Let me tell you,
Yes.
you go to the records.
We are here.
Have they never been
Exactly.
implicated in any corruption? Even that Musalia, or even if it was never prosecuted, have they never been implicated to any? None of them is clean. Let me tell you this. But the problem we are facing today, people are making constitution their manifesto of a party. That everybody want to go to an election, you must come with a constitutional change as a manifesto for the next election. That's what I hate. Constitutional change will not heal the problem of this country. Neither positions will. But the people who will be in power are the people who will help this country. I don't have even any big issue whether we need to have those prime ministers or the deputies. The question is who? Because even there are countries which are progressive enough, in fact even developed countries with the prime minister, they're there. But the question is who? Here is where comes the question, you see? And when you're trying to go against the constitution, or you're trying to like do away with constitution the way Ruto is bringing from his angle of talking about an individual or a common mwananchi, you see, at the end of the day, of course I've read that document. It has so many other aspects talking about people. It's not only the position, which is an article in all that BBI thing. There are so many initiatives through that BBI. My question is, who will implement it?
Many thanks. This being the state of the nation, our time is up, and all of us here have got 1 minute. We begin by Kosgei, we come to Mr. Muka, then we shall finish with the party leader here. The country has gone through what it has gone through, leave alone COVID, but bringing COVID at the same time, where we've come from the year 2007, 2013, the new constitution, the new dispensation. Edgar just talked of Mendelo Ningine 180 billion, where the debt ceiling right now, we are headed somewhere to the ceiling. Now, what do we propose in this state of the nation to the stakeholders who are watching this and even the citizens as we head to the end of the year, where Kenya stands? Mr. Edgar, a parting shot as we come to this direction.
I don't know, but this time has run so much. I want to advise my friend, Fred Muka, that he is the one who has been drawing Kenya behind.
Muka.
Yes. He is one
Muka
of
as
the
a
people,
person or Gans?
as a
As a
person.
thought. Okay.
He said, I have had a president for 24 years. The tribalists talk like this. You see, Kenyatta Senior told us we have to fight for tribalism, against poverty, and against ignorance. 50 years on, he is still talking to me about me having a president for 24 years, about Kikuyus having a president for that long. Let us stay away from tribal connotations.
In words or in actions?
Everything. We are headed in a direction where Edgar can stand up as president because we believe in Edgar. Let us move away from this pointing of fingers of you have had presidents. Let us see whether Edgar is wise enough or should be thrown out. Yeah? And my last statement is this, and you said we have 1 minute, right?
Yes.
Is that Kenya belongs to all of us. And Kenya has people of all walks of life. Let us respect each other as we eat, as we look for food. Let us respect each other's way of finding food, and let us not be quick to judge and quick to run. And I invite my brother to cross over to my side.
Many thanks.